I was around 13 years old, and my family and I rented a cabin at a state park in Mississippi. It was a pretty cool spot. They had a huge lake where you could go fishing or boat riding. Well, the living room area had 2 couches. I was sleeping on the couch by the door that leads to a different room. My uncle was sleeping on the other couch. We both fell asleep. Around 3 in the morning, I woke up. The doorknob to the room I mentioned was shaking like someone was playing with it on the other side. Then the door opened. It was like someone walked through it. I was shocked. My uncle woke up too. He said, "Joey, did you see that?" I was probably too scared to talk. My uncle was so freaked out he called me over so we can figure out what the hell is going on. After realizing a ghost must have opened the door around 3 a.m. and nobody was there, we were forced to just go back to sleep. The trip went on as usual because there was really nothing we could do. I remember my grandma was saying she was seeing some weird shadows going across the wall. She was a little freaked out staying there too. Also, I remember opening a drawer to a dresser nightstand thing. People wrote stuff and signed their name on the bottom of the drawer. One said, "This place is haunted," in bold letters. I'll never forget that moment and night. Me and my uncle still talk about the ghost sometimes till this day. So that's my story of how a ghost freaked me and my uncle out around 3 a.m. in a haunted cabin in Mississippi.
It started in my teens. I was in my room reading, and I got this feeling that there was a presence in the room with me. I sensed it to be my grandma, but she lived far away in another state. But that feeling wouldn't go away. So I'm looking at the walls for some sort of apparition, repeating, "Grandma, is that you?" I never got a response, and the feeling of a presence never went away. This was at night, BTW. I got up and went to my mom in her room and asked her if she would help me write a letter to Grandma tomorrow, and she said yes. I went to bed. The next day, my mom's sister called to tell my mom that my grandma died last night. Second one. I saw the Grim Reaper one night, and my 3 cats saw it too because all 3 of them growled and lowered their heads and put their ears back while looking at it. This was unusual behavior for them. A few months later, my grandpa-in-law died. Third one. I had either a demon or negative energy in my home. I fought it for months. I felt the presence next to me in a room in my house. I jumped because it wasn't there a second ago. I left the room quickly. I had a young cat with me. He was frightened out of his mind by it. I knew it was there by his behavior, but I couldn't see it. They say animals can see things we can't. I was on my roommate's computer in his room, and my cat was behind his monitor. He would peek out from the left side, looking down the hallway, and get scared and duck back behind the monitor. After a few minutes, he did the same thing on the right side. Then back and forth, I couldn't see what he was seeing. I got up and went into the hallway to investigate, and could feel the presence and the slight drop in temperature. So I started hollering at the presence, telling it that it's not welcome here, etc. Then another time I was laying in bed and it was hours after my roommate left for work. I heard a bang in the kitchen. I didn't get up to investigate immediately. After a while, I heard a disembodied voice holler at me because I didn't do anything about the noise and frustration. I got up 10 minutes later to find a half-frozen bag of hamburger patties laying in front of the fridge. Now mind you, I'm home alone. Found out later that the demon negative energy threw the burgers from off the counter where my roommate accidentally left them. From there across the kitchen to the fridge floor. Fourth one, I have arachnophobia. The entity manifested a large tarantula spider, not common in our area, by my computer area. I started screaming and my roommate came out to see the problem. While he's trying to catch the spider, I backed up to the foot of my bed. He's on the floor. I'm standing with my back against my bed. All of a sudden, I felt the iciest, coldest breath blowing on the back of my neck, and I jumped away screaming and turning around. There was nothing there.
I've seen at least 2 full-body apparitions. At least because I've also experienced stuff that I discount because it was immediately after waking up or as I was falling asleep. I've written about these experiences on Reddit before. But here's the thumbnail versions. I lived 6 months in an inn in Oxfordshire that was known to be haunted. Taking out some rubbish one night, a skeletal figure wielding a sword stepped out through a wall and chased me across the inn's car park and into an adjoining field. Years later, on a bright, chilly spring morning, I was on my way to work in Oxford. I popped into a newsagent on the high street for a newspaper and some snacks. On my way out, there was a cute young woman in a lightweight blue summer dress holding an ice cream cone. She beamed a smile at me, and my brain spun trying to figure out how old she was. And would it be appropriate to ask her on a date? Before either of us said anything, someone else walked through her and into the shop. grumbling at me for half blocking the narrow door. She vanished. The ice cream cone was on a sandwich board behind her. Now I had heard of the Blue Lady of Oxford Highgate Street, but I hadn't realized that was the shop. She also didn't resemble a nun.
I've spent my life in a lot of weird places. A haunted aircraft carrier for one, but never saw a thing. But then in a haunted hotel in Broadlight with a half-dozen men, I saw a haunted door. It was my buddy's bachelor party, and a half-dozen of us were sitting in a semicircle when the latch on this odd little storage door lifted, clinked against the handle, and slowly opened. We really thought nothing of it, and one of my friends reached back, closed the door, swung the latch onto the peg, and locked the door. A few minutes later, we hear clink and the door opens again. Now we all feel something. Our friend reaches back, closes the door, and resets the latch. Now there's a half-dozen eyes watching this door. Slowly the latch lifts up, falls against the handle, and the door creaks open. A half-dozen eyes were watching that goddamn door when it happened. Our friend closed the door, reset the latch, we waited, and nothing. But we all saw that latch lift by itself the second time.
I used to sleep in the basement of my family home. I woke up once in the middle of the night, and between the bed and wardrobe was like a swirling black mass that was darker, the rest of the darkness, if that makes sense. It looked like an upper torso and head just standing there. Then it bent forward at the hips, like someone bending forward to take a closer look at something. I immediately felt the temperature drop when it did so. Pulled the covers up and stayed like that until I fell asleep. In the same house, a few years ago, I was cleaning out the garage at night around 10 p.m. A couple hours in, I saw the sensor light go on through the side door, which it was doing all night. Not sure what was different this time, but I froze in fear. One of the most intense fears I've ever felt in my adult life. I squeak out something like, "If anyone is out there, you need to leave." Barely audible since I was terrified. Then all of a sudden, a bag of old kids' toys starts going off despite being moved around earlier. Then as suddenly as the fear came, it just stopped completely. I continued to clean like nothing happened. It was quite puzzling.